Why did your ex move on so fast? And does it mean that they're over you? This common question is one that you are asking yourself, and that most individuals that have reached out to me over the last 10 years have also asked themselves. After a breakup, you have a tendency of focusing on all the reasons why your ex doesn't care anymore, why they've moved on. They seem happy. They're not contacting you anymore. They do things that they used to do with you, with other people, and you feel like it just happened so quickly. A lot of times, this happens because perhaps your ex has thought about moving on or ending the relationship for quite some time. And so by the time you are notified of this decision, they have mentally processed it for weeks, if not months. And the initial shock that you may be experiencing is something that they have already dealt with. So it is easier for them to just move forward. They also see it as a new beginning, a new opportunity, where the rug may be swept from underneath your feet and you are still clinging on to the past because you're overwhelmed by feelings and emotions. However, just because they seem to be happy and doing all these new activities and they seem to be moved on does not necessarily mean that all hope is lost. It does not mean that they're not thinking about you. And it does not mean that they're actually as happy as they're portraying themselves to be. They just don't want to let you know that they're struggling. It would undermine their decision. And ultimately, it is also important for you to not focus so much on what they're doing, how they're basically positioning themselves and what they're up to, and instead to focus on the things that you can control. Otherwise, it won't work. Otherwise, you will end up making a lot of mistakes and pushing them further and further away. So to answer the question, no, it does not mean that they're over you. And just because it appears that they have moved on does not mean that they actually have moved on, especially if you were together for many months or years. It takes time to really be able to process the end of a relationship. And seeking to distract yourself or to engage in certain superficial ways may not necessarily be the healthiest way, or it does not necessarily mean that you've actually moved on. It's when you truly get to a place of peace, where you've learned, where you've accepted, where you've detached, and where your emotions are no longer dictating your actions, that one can say that really, truly, you have moved on. And based on my experience, again, having worked with thousands of people over the last decade, I know that it's more complicated than that. But my plea to you is to not focus on what your ex does. Don't focus on what they're thinking, on what they're doing, on what they're saying. Otherwise, you are going to get triggered one way or another. You may be too high because you feel like, oh, they still have feelings and they're reaching out, or you may be too low when they're not giving you the attention and the validation that you want. This process is about setting the tempo. This process is about true growth and transformation, and we do that by focusing first on what we can control in order to then be in a position to genuinely offer something new, not just at the level of thought, but also at the level of habits and behavior and the new tools that you will have developed to communicate with them in a healthier way and to meet their needs. If you're unsure how to do that, we are here. Our team stands ready to support you in that process. You can reach out to me, go on my website, book a session, and it would be my pleasure to put a plan in place to support you and to make sure that you feel good about next steps, and also that you have a clear sense of direction as to how you can reach your goals. We are just one call away, and it would be my pleasure to support you in this process. So keep fighting the good fight, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.